Welcome to Policing TV, and I am absolutely delighted to be joined by Chief Constable Andy Profit, Chief Constable of Hertfordshire, in the southeast of England, just north of London. For those unfamiliar with the county structure in the UK, Andy, thank you very much for joining us on Policing TV
It's an
today.
absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
We're going to focus on recording three videos in this Policing Leaders series. The three videos, in broad terms, looking at material from the past, from the present day, and looking to the future. And as this is the first video, this is the one that looks back, if you like. And I'm going to you joined when you joined policing in the UK. You joined Essex Police, neighbouring force to Hertfordshire, having studied geography at university. What was the thinking in going from a geography degree to joining the police?
Well, what a great question. So you're quite right. I joined policing in Essex in 1996, and I'd studied. It was a strange degree that had a bit of geography and a bit of economics in it, actually. And I had a vague plan when I started doing the degree that I might be a teacher, I might be an accountant or something in that space. But other than thoroughly enjoying 3 years and learning some stuff about myself and life, I knew at the end of it I didn't really want to do any of those. So how did I get into policing? Well, it's really a story of cricket and complete coincidence. So I am a passionate cricketer. It's the sporting passion of my life. I've played since I was about 5. At the end of university, my father said to me, as won't be a stranger to many, you need to get yourself a job, Andrew. Start looking. And I just literally randomly started looking through job adverts in the local paper as they were then, came across a number, one of which happened to be Essex Police, put in that application, having never really, in all honesty, had ever given a thought to being a police officer. 3 or 4 weeks later, I was interviewed. The person who was interviewing me was a lovely person who happened to be the Essex Police cricket captain. So we spent 20 minutes talking about cricket, because some of that was in my application form. I wasn't a bad cricketer when I was a younger man. And some might say maybe that was serendipity and why I got the opportunity to start. Perhaps I might like to say I talked a little bit about values and honesty and hard work and wanting to do something amazing in communities, which of course is true. I was offered a job and have never looked back since. It's a fantastic career. So I think cricket and serendipity are why I ended up going from a geography degree to Essex Police.
Fascinating to learn the reasons for those in policing, of whatever rank, of whatever role, however they are contributing, and of course, including volunteers and the very many types of those that contribute. What has led them into policing? Sometimes it's because there's a long family history of working in policing. Sometimes it's coincidences or serendipity, as you've just described, and sometimes fascinating pattern. Indeed, I know that you were welcoming some uh, uh, a few dozen new recruits to Hertfordshire just in the last few days, and I don't think it was quite butcher baker candlestick maker in the tradition of the English or UK nursery rhyme, but certainly a wide range of occupations there that had led people to put themselves forward to the great community work that goes into policing.
Absolutely. I mean, it was 49 officers who passed their initial 22 weeks of training last Friday, and we had chefs, we had carers, we had control room staff, IT professionals, people who served in the military, a huge range of backgrounds. And what I said to all of them, and I passionately believe, whatever your background, if your values are wanting to work with people and help people, because policing is about people fundamentally. If you want to do that, you want to be part of a team, you want to make an amazing difference to the communities that we serve. You know, what other job can say? My job is to catch car thieves, burglars, street robbers, drug dealers, violent and sexual offenders. Not many indeed, and only really the police can drive at that, laudable laudable outcome. And so I don't think it's too hard to inspire people to the great calling and the great undertaking that they do. And when I stood there as Chief Constable on Friday in front of their friends and family, seeing the pride on their faces, the pride on their loved ones' faces, and the enthusiasm, the energy with which they are now going out onto the streets of Hertfordshire, you really do know that this is an amazing, amazing career. The privilege I have to lead and inspire all those people is well, it's still amazing to me, but one I take incredibly seriously.
So you joined Essex Police from a geography degree and I guess your dad was quite pleased that you'd found yourself quite quickly a career to get into. What were your expectations of policing at that point?
What attracted me to it, and as I said, it wasn't kind of clearly a predetermined or conscious idea, but what attracted me to it as I applied and then thought about it more and started was just, I think, the sheer variety. There literally isn't so many things, from on day one when you walk out of that police station door, and indeed it'd be the same now if I go out on patrol, which I do. You just don't know what you're going to come across. You do not know what's next, and that appealed to me. I think the opportunities to develop and find where my ambitions and talents wanted to go was a huge appeal to me. Firearms, detective work, working in complex investigations, patrol work in communities, long-term problem solving and partnership, through to promotion and development. All of that is available at different points through your professional life. So I think that's it was and is a huge appeal to me.
And so you at what point did you formulate ideas as to how your policing career might develop? Were they set pretty much in stone right on the day you joined, or was it something that you talk about that breadth of opportunity? Did you put your toes into a number of pools before you decided on ultimately promotion, or ultimately, particular areas you lead for the National Police Chiefs Council in the UK on antisocial behaviour? How did you plan that career? How did it develop? And ultimately, how did you end up within Essex as, from recollection, Deputy Chief Constable?
It's a really good question, and I get asked this a lot when I do coaching or mentoring, or people talk to me about how have you ended up in the role you're in, and the answer is I haven't overly planned it. I never started as a PC thinking I want to be a chief constable, because for me that was just too far removed. All I've ever tried to do, and the counsel I give to people, is try and do your job well now and enjoy what you're doing. And if you do aspire to move on or to specialise, only look one position forward or sideways is my view, and look for people who are doing it well, role model yourself on them, bring yourself to that, and aim at the next bit you're after. Because my view is, if you look too far ahead, it can all become about the pursuit of an ultimate goal rather than just doing your job well now. And I fundamentally believe if you do your job well now, other things tend to look after themselves.
And in your career in Essex with Essex Police, what moments are there that particularly stick in your mind, good or bad? Policing it sees both the best and the worst in society, and so some of these recollections may be more than challenging, and we see that in for many in policing that they are dealing with those real challenges. What things particularly come to mind for you during that Essex time in Essex? And is there learning for others that you might share that you might highlight for others in those
Yeah,
experiences?
yeah. I mean, I can honestly say I've enjoyed every role I've done, and that's not to say, of course, there aren't days and periods of time when it's difficult, because that's just life and professional life sometimes, isn't it? But I guess the roles that stick in my memory, I spent 6.5 years as a response constable, working in Grays, which is a kind of an area of southwest Essex, quite urban, quite deprived, quite industrial, quite a high kind of acquisitive crime area. And the things I learnt about how to engage with and communicate with people from different backgrounds, people who were happy to see you and not happy to see you, how you adapt your styles and kind of become an effective cop in those situations. And the friendships I formed with my mates on my team were, were is a really kind of fond memory for me. And then I guess formative points in my career were becoming a sergeant, so kind of a first line team leader. And you learn really quickly it's different. You're not one of the boys or girls anymore. It comes with responsibility. You've got to make difficult decisions. And, as we all do, you make mistakes and learn quickly, don't you, about letting people get away with things, or perhaps not dealing with things that need dealing with. And you sharpen your supervisory process and learn how to bring people with you and get things done in the right way really quickly. I was privileged to, at a point in my career, to be a staff officer to a chief constable. So learned lots at kind of 10, 15 years service around kind of what it's like to operate at the top of the organisation. And I guess that probably whetted my appetite and gave me a sense that, and I say this to everybody, leadership isn't easy, but it's not rocket science in my view. Chief constables and chief executives are not. We're not in some way some unique human being. We're all human beings and we're all unique. But within us all is an ability to aspire to move forward and get on if that's what we want to do. And I guess that's probably. I left that role going, actually, chiefs and deputies and assistant chief officers are really hard-working, capable people, but I could aspire to that in the future if I wished to. And then some of the other things, the leading teams of people when you're responsible for an area. So I was responsible for the west of Essex as a chief superintendent, and really bringing together investigative teams and community teams and response officers to understand community confidence, to build that trust and confidence and drive down crime. I'm proud of some of those things I achieved because my background was more operational command and neighbourhood and uniform policing than specialist investigation. Vital part of policing, but not something that, sadly, my career path took me down that route. And you said my advice to kind of people. So
Yes.
some really important things I would say to anybody in policing is trust your instincts. What's in your head and your heart. It's a people business. So really, really listen to yourself as well as those around you. Work hard and do your best. But fundamentally in policing, remember what it's all about. It's about serving the public, catching criminals and solving crime. That effectively is the mission I've set for my organisation now. It's what I believed on day one. It's what I believe now. And when every person who walks out of a police station in Essex or Hertfordshire, everybody who supports people doing that, our job, our mission, help people catch criminals, solve crime.
So we're quite tight on time for each of these videos, and we need to come to the end of this first video, looking to your earlier career in a moment or two. But before we pause on video one and begin recording the second video, dealing with your time at Hertfordshire, whilst you were at Essex, you took on the National Police Chiefs Council's portfolio for antisocial behaviour. We'll deal more with that in videos 2 and potentially 3, but what were the circumstances under which you took on that portfolio? Was it something that you sought out, or was it something that came finding you?
It's something that came finding me, although I was looking for a national portfolio. So you tend to pick up a national portfolio in policing in the UK when you become a chief officer, assistant chief constable, deputy and chief constable, or police staff equivalent. So when I became an assistant chief constable in 2017, I wanted a national portfolio. I reached out to the chief officer network, and antisocial behaviour was one that was becoming available. It had a real close synergy with my background, community policing, partnership, making lives and communities better, safer and stronger. So it appealed to me. I applied for it and I got it. And here we are 8 years later, and I'm still proud to lead that area of business.
We'll come on to more detail on the antisocial portfolio. Not the antisocial portfolio, but the antisocial behaviour portfolio in videos 2 and 3. But I'm going to draw this first video, Andy, to a close. So, for the time being, Chief Constable Andy Prophet of Hertfordshire Constabulary, thank you very much. For those viewing, the usual reminder, if you're watching on YouTube, go and like and subscribe. And of course, do watch videos 2 and 3, which will be along shortly. Andy, for the time being, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.